Hey sewing friends, I am back with part 2 of my Seamwork Design Your Wardrobe journey for spring and summer of 2023. So I had to split up the video because it was really long. So I decided to do the split. First video is you can go back and watch all about kind of the course setup. I talk through what I learned doing my concept, answering about my goals and the whys of sewing for this season. And then from there, building a mood board and a color palette. And in this video, we get to the good stuff. So this is the patterns and fabrics that I have picked. Now, I've gone a bit off script because the course really wants you to only design 10 items max. And it gives kind of a framework to do your looks. So to design and plan out full outfits. Now, I discovered that that doesn't really work for me. I loved doing this class back in fall of last year. Again, the concepting phase was great, building the mood boards, choosing the fabrics and the color palette, awesome. But when it came to committing to 4 to 6 outfits, which ended up being, somewhere between 8 and 10 sewing projects, I was just ooh, that is not for me. And I really tried to just make myself do it. And it ended up being really stressful. In the end, I just kind of threw it out the window, and I ended up making things that still fit the vibe of the concept and the mood board. But yeah, it was just a bit stressful, and I didn't end up getting to stick to what I wanted. So since then, I have learned a lot more about my official ADHD diagnosis and am learning to work with my brain, that my brain is structured a bit differently and needs different things. So in that, coming into spring Design Your Wardrobe, I came at things a little bit differently. So for one, I decided I'm not gonna let this stress me out. I'm gonna do my best to not get perfectionist about creating the perfect little collection. I definitely still spiraled down that road a little bit, but I did kind of catch myself. And the other thing was that I was gonna take from the course what worked for me and set aside what doesn't. So locking myself into harsh plans that just hits somehow simultaneously hits my rebellion button and also my double down perfectionist button, and just inner chaos. So I've opted to not go that route, and so instead I've left my project list, my ideas of projects, pretty long. So instead of having max 8 or 8 to 10 garments to sew, I think mine is at 20, which is obviously not gonna happen. I'm not gonna sew 20 garments in a season. That's way too much, but I'm approaching it from the menu standpoint. So I've been using the menu strategy I've talked about on here quite a bit. I use it for work. I use it for house stuff, where I set aside a time to either work or do house stuff or do sewing, whatever it is. And I take a few minutes and sit down and think of what kind of energy do I have right now? Is it, for example, with sewing, do I have the energy to really learn a new technique right now? Is that where I want to go with today? Or maybe I don't have that kind of energy. Maybe what I need is a tried and true make for not just like this particular like sewing period, but like going forward, what does my week look like? Like, do I have a full plate? Maybe my sewing needs to be like more meditative and more like in a tried and true pattern kind of thing. Or maybe I'm like, no, I really want to do some problem solving. I'm feeling really energized and ready to take on a challenge. So with that, I can go to my project menu and decide like, okay, I'm pretty low energy today. Let's cut out a Hannah tank. That's a pattern I've made like 5 or 6 times. I don't have to look at the instructions. I know exactly what to do. I know I don't have to make any adjustments because they're already done on my pattern. I know it's gonna fit. I know this is gonna be a quick, easy win. Or I can look at my menu and be like, no, I am ready to like dive in to pants fitting today. And for this week, like that's what I'll work on. That to me is like so much better than being like, this is your list, here's the order you're gonna do it in, this is what you're gonna stick to, blinders on, no wildcard projects. And that's not necessarily like, the course doesn't push that hard with it, but it's definitely the framework. And I get that they're designing this course for people coming at it in like very different ways. So this is just like how I'm coming at it, how I'm learning to work with my brain and with what I want for my sewing practice as a whole. The course is very like customizable, and this is an area that I'm definitely like doing some tweaking in. So just as a little refresher, I'm going to pop my mood board in here so you can kind of see the vibe again. We're going for like very natural, romantic, grounded, warm, earthy vibes. I want to be like feel present and dressed up a little bit even when I'm just at home, but I need those clothes to not be like too fussy that I want to like save them for special occasions. I really want to wear my wardrobe and the things that I make even when I'm just at home. And likewise, they need to be comfortable enough that I like am reaching for them at home and easy to care for as well. So that's my criteria, as well as fitting along with my mood board and like the color palette and the vibe there. So let's get into my project ideas. So something that they talk about in helping to kind of plan outfits and get patterns and fabrics matched together are outfit formulas. Design Your Wardrobe is not about creating a specific capsule wardrobe, but they do want to encourage like a lot of versatility. So I found the outfit formulas quite helpful. So I thought I would talk you through a few of mine because that's kind of how I structured my menu. So look number 1, you won't be able to see the drawings that I did. They're not very good anyway, so you're not missing out. But the context is easy summer is what I'm calling it. So I'm placing a breezy blouse with some breezy trousers. So for that, I've got 3 fabrics pulled for blouses. Now I think for the foxes / coyotes and then the little window pane check, I think I'm gonna riff on the Forget Me Not Helmy blouse. I have made that one and I really like the fit of it. So I think I'm gonna play with that a little bit, but maybe like eliminate the collar and just do like the keyhole and a little tie with bias tape or bias binding. I think that could be very cute. For this one, I don't think I have quite enough fabric for that. So I'm looking at maybe like a tank top or a like a camisole type situation. I have made the Hannah tank from Pattern Scout lots of times, and I think I might do the version, the plain front, so no button placket, and then the curved hem I think would look really pretty in this very like liquidy lyocell, and this really pretty like sunset clay marsala color. And then to go with the 3 blouses, I've got a couple dark fabrics for pants. This again, where like I'm a little bit not nervous, but like I think I need to do some toiling. I've made the free range slacks a bunch of times, but I've not really nailed like the fit around the bum. So I think I need to look into maybe doing like a combo of like full belly, flat bum adjustment, as well as like taking the pattern down to my current size. So yeah, I like need to mess with that quite a bit, but that is kind of the vibe that I'm thinking, to do one like wide leg and then one tapered leg with the cuff. So that's the vibe of look one, is a breezy blouse and some breezy summer trousers. So for look number 2, I wanted to create a couple of little mix and match cord sets. So I'll be making the Hannah tank for the tops and then making a couple pairs of shorts. I'm thinking I'm gonna do the True Bias Danny because I already have it cut out. I printed it off last year, but then didn't get around to making it. I'm thinking a little Hannah and Danny short set in this purple, and then also in this gingham. This is also a linen, and like the main color in here is that brown, but this stripe here has kind of a purpley, it's not purple, but I would say it's like a purple undertone, and I think I'll be able to mix and match those two really well. I, again, am like a little hesitant about elastic waist shorts. It is what I want in terms of comfort, but I'm a little nervous about like diaper bum situation. So like with the trousers, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of fitting and experimenting with, yeah, probably flat bum adjustment, but maybe I'll do the like top down, center out method. I know that has worked really well for a lot of people with pants and shorts fitting. So we'll see about those, but I'm really excited to do little matching sets with these two fabrics. Look number 3 is a romantic blouse paired with some really structured overalls. So I really love the contrast of like floaty, romantic, feminine top with like some serious workwear canvas overalls, or dungarees if you call them that. So this top I've talked about, or this fabric I've talked about making a Wren blouse from Chalk and Notch, but hacking it to have a square neck. So I think that's going to be actually my next project. Really excited about that, and I think having that square neck will go really nicely with some overalls, or in the fall maybe like a pinafore. So yeah, this canvas I'm thinking is going to be, I haven't found like the perfect overall pattern. I'm leaning towards the Closet Cord Jennies, which are not in a great size range for one, so I'm not stoked about purchasing that, but it does seem to be the closest to what I'm looking for. I do want it like pretty fitted through the waist and hip, and I want it to like sit on my natural waist before going into the bib. Yeah, because I didn't like my Rileys that I made last September because they just like sat really low and I didn't like that shape. So I'm still kind of on the hunt. These will probably not be the next project that I do because I need to do some more research. If you have any recommendations for size inclusive, more fitted overalls, do let me know. Having a bit of a think on that one, but very excited about the prospect of these two together as a like romantic workwear contrast combination. So look number 4 is probably the category I'm most excited about. So this is the context everyday dress up. And for this, I want elastic waist dresses, similar to the Meg dress that I'm wearing today. So this is my little sketch and the swatches. So these are the fabrics. I do have one more. Whoops, this one came off. I do have one more that's actually in the laundry right now because I'm going to be getting started on that one for So Recreate the Look. So I don't have that one to share with you, but you will be seeing it very soon. So first up, I have this viscose slub in this, it's kind of like a, what is it called? Ginkgo floral. So it's like tan and black with these really nice pops of yellow, which make it feel a bit more summery to me. This one, I definitely want like a boho style dress. So in all honesty, it's probably going to become a Meg dress, but maybe with like longer or 3/4 sleeves. Another pattern that I'm really liking at the moment is the Friday Pattern Company Davenport dress. And I have yet to try the new Tilly and the Buttons Mabel. So this one I probably won't make until at least after June. I have this thing where I really like black. I look really good in black, I think. But I do not like wearing black between April and June. Like, it's not a spring color to me. So I know I won't be like wearing this anytime soon. So I've got some time to think about that one. This fabric I've already talked about. It is like so soft. I'm really excited for this to get made up into something. But again, I am like just nervous about capturing the vibe of, yeah, getting the right pattern for this fabric. So thinking about the Davenport, I'm also thinking about the designer stitch Keelan, which is more of just like a shift dress. It's a very like loose pullover shift dress, but it does have fisheye darts to kind of bring everything in the front and the back. So it's like kind of tailored, but it's still very loose fitting. So I like the idea of having this just kind of be, yeah, having whatever pattern I pick as really like a canvas for the print, because the watercolor is almost like an abstract stripe. So I don't want to be mincing that up too much. So I want to like keep thinking about that for this one. But I'm also worried that like if I think about it for too long, toile up a couple options for fitting, that like by the time I'm actually ready to sew it, it will like be November. So I really want to get this sewn in the summer, but the idea hasn't like quite formulated yet. And again, I mentioned like feeling a lot of pressure about actually both of this fabric as well, because they are kind of like cornerstone to the idea of this collection. It feels like a lot of pressure, and I need to like let some of that go, because it's just fabric, but at the same time it's not just fabric, because of all the meaning that I've built around the mood board and what these projects are going to mean to me. I'm clearly having a lot of feelings about that. This one, prints like this can look a bit like juvenile on me. I love the cottagecore trend. I think it's really cute, but yeah, sometimes they hit my curvy body and then it's suddenly like very sweet. If you've got any ideas on size inclusive dress patterns that are maybe like a little bit more modern, let me know, because I'm looking for ideas for this one. So look number 5 is some unstructured, like, I still want like some tailoring, but these are more like breezy, free-flowing dresses. So first up is again this bright heather linen, and I want to make another Hannah tank out of this one, but instead of the tie front blouse version, I want to do the dress. And I made a few years ago a linen Hannah dress, and I absolutely loved it. I basically lived in it, and I've got some really special buttons to go with this one, so I'm very excited about that. This one, I'll be honest, is probably like closest to the chopping block, because the ideas that I have for this one, I think I would need to toile up. So idea number 1 is the LB Textiles Duplantier dress. I think it is such a cute style. I wish I could like try it on and then decide if I wanted to make it, because it definitely runs the risk of looking a bit like maternity on me with like that inverted V and then the gathered skirt. The other idea that I have for this one would also require a toile, and that would be the Friday Pattern Company Hughes dress. I have made that one before and I wasn't quite happy with the fit, so I would need to do some experimenting, but I think either one would be really cute in the sandwash cotton. It's just a matter of if I'm gonna spend the energy on it or not. These two, I am thinking I would like to be made up in a Helen's Closet Reynolds tank dress. This one, I'm not sure if I have enough fabric. I'm really annoyed because I actually bought it to make a blouse, and online, it really looked more of like this dark purple color, which I thought was gonna be like really perfect. I wanted to do a Peter Pan color, so it'd be like a lot of fabric right up by my face. And they don't do swatch service. You can order in quarter meters. And so I was like, I'm not gonna spend like $5 plus shipping to check. And yeah, that really bit me in the butt because this is like much too gray to be right up against my face. But I think in something strappy with like that square neck, I will have, there's enough of me to kind of counteract that. It's not gonna be right up against my face, but I don't have a whole lot, and it is a checked fabric. So I'll have to do some like Tetrising and maybe some modifications. I've gotten it out of 2 meters before by piecing out the facing pieces. So maybe if I like use a different fabric for the facings and the pockets, maybe that one will work. This one though, I do have 2 meters of, and I think it would be so great as a Reynolds dress. It's super soft. I've had it for a couple of years, and I'm really excited to actually get it made up, hopefully soon. The last 3 fabrics I have are in my Wildcard category. So each of these 3 really fit, I think, the vibe of the mood board individually. And I would have things already in my wardrobe that would match well with them, but they didn't really go with the very strong theme that presented itself with the like rust and forest green and cream yellow, like that kind of sunset palette. These ones didn't quite fit into that, but again, I do think they fit really well with the mood board. So I have 6 meters of this fabric. I really fell in love, and I couldn't decide if I was gonna make a blouse or a dress. So I got enough to do both. And I think if I end up reaching for this fabric this summer, I think I want to do a blouse. I'm thinking maybe the Chalk and Notch Wren and doing the full length with the actual cuff. I really love this like geometric abstract print. It's super light. So yes, I'm thinking about doing a long sleeve blouse, but it is like tissue thin. Like it is not even opaque. Yeah, peeking through. That was a bit silly to do. But yeah, I do really love this, and I think it would bring kind of a like more modern element to the collection. A lot of it is kind of in that like cottagecore, vintagey, romantic vibe, and this could be like maybe a little bit grounding in that. But yeah, so we'll see about this one. It is super soft, and every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I love it so much. So that's that one. This is a fabric that I bought. It's just a washed linen. I bought it last summer to make the Danny shorts and didn't get around to it. So I think maybe this will be my toile fabric because it doesn't quite fit the collection, although it is like a really nice kind of like oceany light blue. Fits with the mood board, not necessarily with the collection. So maybe I'll use this as my, maybe not like first toile, but like if we're working through, I know I would get a lot of wear out of them, and there's lots of other things in my wardrobe that would match with these as a pair of shorts. So that's a maybe. And this fabric I have talked about a couple of times as something I really want to use up this year. So again, totally fits with the vibe of the mood board, but I just don't know if like summer is going to be the best time to use this. I think it would match with like most of the other tops that I have planned. Yeah, but I'm not quite sure. I think I want to do a skirt from this. So something kind of like A-line. I don't think I have enough for a wrap skirt, which is really what I want. So have to kind of play around. And again, this is kind of like the green fabric where like it's going to be a matter of energy. Like if I want to just like whip through things, this is not the one to do because it's going to require like a bit more thought and maybe like some pattern hacking. So we'll see about these three, but they're kind of like the honorable mentions. Yeah, the last step for the design your wardrobe process is to create a sewing queue and make a commitment to your plans. So this is where like I am kind of bending the rules a little bit. Again, you saw that my plans are really like a bit loosey-goosey. I'm definitely leaning into that menu strategy as to combat some perfection, combat like any feelings of being pigeonholed or claustrophobic or overwhelmed by my plans, and just like having a relaxed menu that I can choose from as I will. The sewing queue, this is where like it relaxes a little bit. So the suggestion is to pick 2 to 3 projects that are just in your like next upcoming list. So I have gone for 3 blouses. Now, there's a couple practical reasons that I'm going for these rather than, again, choosing the like outfits to build on. I know that I have things in my closet that will work for these pieces and I can start wearing them like immediately without necessarily having to do all of the toiling and fitting and all of that that is going to come with some of those bottom pieces. Plus, they're all white, so I can just like load up my machine and my overlocker with white thread and hopefully just like zoom through them. And as for the commitment portion of my plans, I have made 3 commitments. One is to stay in the vibe of the mood board and to let that. I don't plan on making a whole lot of fabric purchases. You see that I have like a lot to choose from already, but if I do, and I might pick up a couple of knits for some bike shorts and maybe a couple Seamwork Wallace dresses because I wore that to death last year. It's gotta fit. It's gotta fit the vibe. So it doesn't necessarily have to fit the exact color palette that I have gone with, but it needs to work within the feel of the mood board if I make any purchases, and that's fabric or anything like ready to wear or thrifted. I really want to keep that in mind as like a grounding point. So that's commitment number 1. And number 2 is that I really want to commit to this idea of a menu and not get wrapped up in like, oh, I can't decide what I'm going to make, or oh, this probably needs like this kind of, I need to muslin, or I need to practice, I need to do this and that. I really want to not get stuck this season with my sewing. And so I really just need to every month pick 1 or 2 projects and just go for it. I always try to tell myself like it's only fabric, and if I mess up, I will learn something, but also there's like that part of me that is like, oh, but it's fabric, like it's this one and it means this to me, and like I have a lot of meaning around it. I want to do my best, but I also don't want to get like so caught in that I don't actually make the things that I want to make when I want to make them. So those 2 things are going to be my focus moving forward, and I'm really excited to get started. So thanks so much for coming along with me to check out my sewing menu as what I've come up with in the design your wardrobe process. I know it is not the traditional outcome from the course. It is definitely more than the like 10 pieces, 10 sewing projects that they suggest for a season. I think having a menu to choose from is going to suit me a lot better than feeling locked in to certain projects for a fixed period of time. And if I don't get to all of them, I won't get to all of them. There's way too many. But I feel a lot more okay with that. And really, I just feel really good about having done the beginning process and letting like my mood board and my goals really inform really like anything that I make. So I'm really excited. I'm really glad that I did the course, even though, yeah, my outcome is like a little bit different, but I will still do monthly sewing plans and probably like throw in a couple things here and there, especially when there's like sewing challenges or like a community event, like, because I do really like to participate in those if I can, especially if there's some extra overlap. So I'll still be doing those and monthly makes videos, but now you have a pretty good like idea. I have a good idea of what I'll be making kind of on a more like broader bird's eye level. So I do really recommend the course. I think it is really fun and it's really helpful to like do that deep dive into your goals for sewing. And you know, mine were very like abstract and personal, but it was great to be like in the course with other folks because some of them were like really practical about fitting or filling like a very specific niche gap in their wardrobe. So this is just my experience. I do recommend the course. I think it is really, really fun, but again, it's just my experience and you can really take out of it what you want, which is another reason to recommend it. So if you want to check it out, I will have it linked below. I'm not sponsored by Seamwork or anything. I've just been a member for a long time and I really like their brand and what they are producing and their community values. So that is my like endorsement stamp. Thanks for watching. I hope you're feeling inspired. I always love to know like if you like planning for a season or just month to month or like project to project. If you are free enough, like tell me all about how it works for you. If you are free enough to just like pick a project, like a fabric and a pattern, and you can just like fall into that. Like that sounds amazing and very different than my experience, clearly, because I love to plan everything like to the detail and then like throw out the plan sometimes. But yeah, I'd love to know what you're making either for the season, for the month, or for just like right now. Tell me all about it. You can do that here in the comments below, or you can find me on Instagram and show me what you're up to. I love hearing from you. And this has been long, so I'm gonna go now and I'll see you next time. Bye!